Yo, what is up? So I loaded this game up, still wakes the deep on the 97 XT, and I found the adrenaline that just weren't detecting the. Well, it just wasn't working with FSR 4 with the toggle. So I've had to use OptiScaler in the end. So I did restart the PC. I've done the usual things to try and make it work, but it just wouldn't work. So I mean, it's going to be the rare game where it won't work with the adrenaline that even it actually has got a FSR 3.1, so it just wasn't working. So this video is going to be like an install guide if you've got the game how to like install FSR 4 using OptiScaler, and I also want to compare the native aliasing in the game, so 100% native with Unreal Engine's like their solution for anti-aliasing, which is TAAU. So that's 100% resolution. You got TSR as well, where you can, for some reason, it's on 100%. So I wanted to compare TAAU native against FSR4, like I did in the Spider-Man remastered video. Although that was a TAA, but it's basically the same thing. It's anti-aliasing that you use at native resolution, and I mean native resolution should really be better, but I'm finding that not to be the case with FSR4 and even DLSS4, where you can just render from 66%, and then or you can go 58, which is balance performance, and I even found performance mode to look better on the Spider-Man compared to the TAA native, which is ridiculous, really. I mean, looking at the hair quality and just the overall image, really, of on the Spider-Man game, just the overall detail you're getting from FSR 4, it just looks better than the TAA native. So I wanted to do the same on this game, have a look, but this is installing OptiScaler, so you will need to do that. And one thing you've got to be careful of is once you install OptiScaler on this game, you got to make sure you got to use the DLSS inputs. So you press one at the end of the install, or what I've just showed you there, and then you want to make sure you're actually going to the left, because if you go to the right, you're going to run into the FSR4 upscaling, which actually freezes the game. That's what happened to me. So I tested it out a few times, and every time I try to use FSR inputs, unless I've uninstalled OptiScaler, so you can load up the game first before using OptiScaler, set it to TAAU first, and then just come out of the game, install OptiScaler as I'll show you, and then just make sure you go to the upscaling tab and then press left until you get to DLSS. That's the way to do it. And then just be careful that you don't go to the FSR inputs, because this is what I've said before, some games it will just for some reason crash on FSR once you literally install OptiScaler. So I mean, the way you can remove it, so I basically will show you how to remove it as well. So if you ever get any issues, just go to the folder and just double left click remove OptiScaler, and it gives you a command screen. Press a small Y and it literally removes it. But yeah, that is the way to do it. Just go to the left, set it to TAAU before you install it. That's what I'd say. And then just don't go to the right, because that is where FSR is. So I had to be a bit careful when I was even testing it, because I do want to have a look at image quality wise. So I had to sort of train myself where it was, but yeah, just make sure it's a small Y if you want to literally remove OptiScaler. So I'm doing it here because I'm reinstalling it, because I did try the other way with FSR, but it didn't work. It just gave me a crash. So you need to copy all your OptiScaler files as we normally do. Right click, paste, replace them, and then just run one enter for AMD, and then one to use DLSS. So that is what you want for this game. I mean, most of the time it's pretty easy to do with OptiScaler as long as you know where the folder is. But some games can give you these crashes, and I mean, 9 times out of 10, it's usually it crashes if you put it on the FSR. So I've done like plenty of other videos showing people how to do it, but majority of the time, I would go for DLSS. Just once you install OptiScaler, then you get both options most of the time. So majority of the time, I would say use DLSS inputs. Then otherwise you would literally have to go out of the game, remove it, and then install it again for the DLSS input. So it just adds DLSS inputs once you install it basically with OptiScaler. This gives you another option. So in this menu here, so I just had to make sure. So I just trained myself to know where FSR was. So I would say start off on that TAAU, and then always go to the left, and then you won't run into any trouble. So there it is, and that will actually activate FSR 4 for the OptiScaler. So you press insert to bring that menu up. So yeah, so now it's gonna pretty much work. I did try XESS inputs and it just wasn't detecting it for some reason, so that was weird. But it works on DLSS, so you can get FSR 4 up. So now I want to literally compare the image quality in that, because as I've said in my previous videos, I've just been talking about TAA with native a lot, and I'm just finding it to be worse. And another thing I noticed on here is I didn't like the film grain option. It was giving some sort of noisy image. I mean, it didn't look good at all for image quality. But so I've applied FSR 4 now with a FSR 3.x, so now that is on. And definitely I felt, I mean, so we're looking at FSR 4, and I did feel it looked cleaner. It looked sharper compared to the TAAU with native. So, I mean, Unreal Engine games are actually worse with their solution, anti-aliasing solutions, because it's definitely, I mean, a lot of people told me that as well. So I thought I'd look into that, and I just think it looks even worse than TAA did, like on the older games, because that's literally, you literally hardly see that now. TAA. It's mostly TAAU, because it literally every game is Unreal Engine. There was definitely a difference, like when I compared it to I actually compared FSR 3 as well, but that actually surprised me with how good it looked. So it looked a lot better, so that was surprising, although it's definitely worse. So I had another look at it in this game. I had a look at FSR 3, but there's definitely some bits coming up where it just looked pretty bad. So there's definitely some like games where I think FSR 3 is looking pretty decent, but then all of a sudden it starts showing its ugly rear end at times, and then you get some bad shimmering. So I'd say it definitely looked better than I thought it would, but then there was still little bits where it was shimmering, like in the corners of the room, or looking at the wall, like the top left, you can see it shimmering a bit. But then it didn't look really bad, like I've seen in some other games, like Expedition 33 was a complete joke when I looked at FSR 3 in that game. So, but again, as I said, you can, I mean, it was shimmering more on the door there, it was shimmering on the floor, on the wall there. So, and on this bit right at the bottom of the door. So I noticed the instability was a bit worse on the FSR 3 when you're looking at the silver threshold there. So when I was comparing it with this sill at the bottom of the door, so I switched it back to FSR 4.0.2 just to have a look, and there was a difference. So it just seemed to resolve itself a lot better. When I'm just panning the camera, it was a lot better. So now I thought I'd have a look at the native solution in the Unreal Engine games, which is TAAU. So they don't have TAA in there anymore. And the first thing I thought is it looks more blurry. It doesn't look great. I'll be honest, I think I even liked FSR 3 better in this bit. I mean, so this is supposed to be native resolution, and for me, it looks all. I mean, see, when I'm comparing it to FSR 4 and DLSS 4, it just looks worse. So that is what I'm comparing it to now. I mean, it looked shimmery on the door handle there. So on the silver sill, it looked worse. So I'd say everything pretty much looked worse. So we're at ultra wide 1440p. So it will probably clean up a bit more at 4K, but then still FSR 4 would look better, and so would DLSS 4. So this is what I've been sort of touching on recently, that I, I don't see any reason now for TAA or TAAU, which is in the Unreal Engine games, because you're getting less FPS and you're definitely getting worse image quality, and the detail, even the detail comes out more, because in Spider-Man Remastered, I noticed when I was looking at Mary Jane's coat, there was actually more detail in the coat. So I did actually forget to mention that in my previous video, but that is another difference. So everything just, as I said, it's like the game is almost being remade with detail. So we go back to FSR 4, and it just, everything just looks sharper. It's not as blurry. So it is more of a blurry look to the TAAU as well, and it just looks more messy. And I've seen that in quite a lot of games. So I mean, if you're going back to, I mean, back in the day where DLSS 3 was the only solution, I would say, even, I mean, if you're looking at it, comparing it to Unreal Engine Aliasing, I would say it probably does look better in quite a few games. But now I'm looking at, I mean, at 1440p, I did see DLSS 3 did look worse when you go balanced performance and even quality mode. I think it was Monster Hunter Worlds. DLSS 3 didn't look great in that. So, and then I just noticed a dramatic difference once I looked at DLSS 4 and FSR 4. So they're definitely a step up from DLSS 3, and even beating the literally the TAA native in a lot of games I've looked at, and especially TAAU. I mean, for me, TAAU is worse than TAA, easily. And I think that's because their games actually have a upscaling within the engine. But it's meant to be 100% anyway, resolution. So it did say it in this game. Anyway, looking at FSR 3, it looks alright until I turned around, and so if you're looking at the floor, is a lot more. There's a lot of noise, a lot of artifacts on the floor, flickering. So that reminded me a bit of Expedition 33 when I looked at FSR 3 on that game. So what I did is I switched back to FSR 4.0.2, and we had a look at that, and it definitely cleaned it up. So that cleaned it up straight away. So that was a nice improvement. So definitely everywhere I looked in this bit, in the showers, where the sinks are and all that, it looked a lot cleaner. So then we went back to FSR 3 again. So we will zoom in. So there's a lot of artifacts on the floor there, a bit shimmering on the door. So the other thing I wanted to do is check out Native TAAU to see if that did a better job. So I just went to the right to avoid FSR crashing it. So this is it. This is 100% native TAAU. And to my surprise, it was still giving me pretty much the same, which is interesting. So it weren't doing a better job. So this part here looks like it was a lot harder to render. The vent looked pretty much the same, I would say. I would say FSR 4 done the best job on that vent. It literally just looked a bit cleaner with FSR 4. But then as soon as I turned around, this is the issue here, this problem bit in the where all the showers are. So, and again on this door, it looks more shimmery on TAAU as well, native. So again, I expected it to be literally do better on this actually. I thought native would look a lot better. But then probably because I've been using FSR 4 for a while now, as well as DLSS 4. I just find I've got more used to that cleaner image quality. Probably that's probably what it is as well. So I notice it more. So on Spider-Man, I mean, definitely FSR 4 was better on that, and the same with Nvidia's DLSS 4. And I would say, I mean, this looks even worse for me. Unreal Engine Aliasing with native. So that is 2025 for you with how games are looking at native with Unreal Engine games. So there is another bit we'll get to, but we're just looking at. I mean, I think I went back to FSR 4 here, yeah. So we had another look at that because it definitely done the best job, as you'd expect. I mean, a lot of people think native can still look better, but I'm not finding that to be the case in quite a few games I've looked at. So again, that resolves it a lot better on FSR 4 when I'm looking at the door handle. There's not much in it when I'm looking at the vent, but it's better on the FSR 4. Everything is just more cleaner. I mean, especially when I look behind. So it's got to the stage where, again, as I said, I would just flick it on FSR 4 and be done with it. Literally be done with it over native resolution, because you're getting more FPS, and as you can see, it is a lot cleaner with image quality on there. So, and this is zooming in. So at the end of the day, I'm finding this to be the case in a lot of games. So I investigate it because I'm pretty much, I mean, I want to see for myself if it is true, and I have to confirm that I just find the image detail a lot better, as well as I've been saying. It seems to add more detail, literally like DLSS 4 does. It adds more detail, and I'm finding that with FSR 4. It just it seems to, I mean, on clothing, like I saw in Spider-Man in other games, it just seems to add more detail. It's like it thinks it literally enhances the image. That's what it feels like, and especially when you looking at faces of characters, like the skin texture is better. It's almost like the artificial intelligence is sort of been trained to sort of know how clothing should look in real life, and it literally replicates it in the game. So it just does a better job than native by the looks of it. That's what I'm finding. So I found another bit it was quite interesting in the kitchen. So the plates are actually shimmering on the TAAU, and they were shimmering on the FSR 3. I think FSR 3 looked the worst. It definitely looked the worst. So the overall image actually looked a bit more shimmery, a bit more unstable than FSR 4. So, I mean, yeah, to the right, I mean, you can see the plates are shimmering, definitely shimmering more. So if we zoom in, as you can see, the plates are shimmering at native TAAU with the aliasing 100% resolution. And as we expect on FSR 3, we actually have I think it's a bit worse than TAAU, to be fair, as a native. But then we switch to FSR 4, and it just completely cleans it up. So without any shadow of a doubt, that is the best image quality you will get on this game. And then, as I said, it's the same in other games I've looked at when I'm comparing TAAU or TAA native to FSR 4. So that is native again, so we're just comparing them all. So it looks worse on that, obviously, zooming in, and then you've got FSR 3 which is even worse than TAAU native, which used to be the case. So, and it still is. So yeah, no doubt in my mind. I mean, I've got the DLC for this game. I really enjoyed it. This is Still Wakes the Deep, and it was a really good game for me. There was a lot of action in it. A bit like Mirror's Edge, where you got to jump about to, I mean, hang on to certain objects. It's a really intensive game, to be fair. It's a thriller. So I would highly recommend this game, and without a doubt, if you've got AMD, if you've got 9000 series, it's worth using OptiScaler to put FSR 4.0.2 into the game. I would imagine, I haven't tried the FSR 4 DLL, which you can download for RDNA 3 on this, but I'd imagine that would possibly do a better job as well than the TAAU on this game. As long as it's working properly, try balance if quality isn't working. So yeah, I mean, that is pretty much it for this video. I mean, it's pretty obvious that FSR 4 is just better than native on this game easily. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.